Current plans for Cody Rhodes' WWE return, future plan for Dominic Mysterio, Triple H and WWE creative no intention to push Veer Mahan, Goldberg beating Bray Wyatt the biggest flop in WWE history, current WWE superstar to replace Brock Lesnar, Bray Wyatt turns down working with fired WWE star leaked, WWE legend says Bray Wyatt should demand creative control in WWE. Let's jump right into it. Future plan for Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio has joined hands with the Judgment Day and seems to be firmly under the control of Rhea Ripley. The angle is reportedly set to get even more personal as there is speculation that an angle is being filmed at Edge's house. The former tag team champion shocked the world when he attacked Edge and his father Rey Mysterio at Clash at the Castle. Following their win over Finn Balor and Damian Priest at Clash at the Castle, WWE legends Edge and Rey Mysterio were ambushed by Dominic. Weeks of feeling neglected by his father led to them finally joining the dark side, and he is now officially a part of Judgment Day. As per PW Insider, Dominic Mysterio was in Asheville, North Carolina along with his father Rey Mysterio. This is where Edge has a home, and the speculation is that they were filming an angle at his house which would further the storyline. PW Insider notes Rey and Dominic Mysterio were both in Asheville, North Carolina this past weekend, leading to speculation they may have shot an angle or filmed something at Edge's house because that's where he lives. On last week's episode of Monday Night Raw, it was announced that WWE Hall of Famer Edge will take on Dominic for the first time ever in a singles competition. The match was announced for this week's episode of The Red Brand. The ongoing family drama took an interesting turn last Raw as Rey Mysterio was torn between his best friend and his son. While trying to play peacemaker, the former WWE champion was attacked by Rhea Ripley, who claims that his 25-year-old son only listens to her now. While he is a former tag team champion, Dominic Mysterio's heel turn would be beneficial for him as he can break out of his father's shadow. The angle will likely lead to a father-son match down the road once Edge is done with the superstar he once considered his nephew. Should Dom have a match with Rey Mysterio in the future? Let us know in the comments section. Triple H and WWE creative no intention to push Veer Mahan. It has been reported that the head of WWE creative Triple H does not have any immediate plans for Veer Mahan. Mahan's current on-screen persona has been a part of the Raw brand since he was drafted to the show in October 2021. It will be another 5 months until the Indian star made his much-anticipated Raw debut on April 4, 2022. While Veer possesses an incredible athletic range, the former professional baseball player has not been able to connect with the crowd since he arrived on WWE's main roster. According to a recent report from Fightful Select, Triple H and WWE creative will not be pushing the 34-year-old star anytime soon as there aren't significant imminent creative plans for Veer as of right now. With Hunter taking over from Vince McMahon as head of creative, many underutilized stars have since been thrust back into the spotlight. Many fans will be hoping Mahan gets his shot from the game soon. A match that Triple H booked involving Veer Mahan on Raw was recently met with criticism from former WWE head writer Vince Russo. He stated on Sportskeeda Wrestling's Legion of Raw that a contest like this was only featured on the program as the show has a 3-hour runtime. Would I have booked it on Nitro in 1999? I mean, come on, Chris, come on. This is what Triple H is talking about when he's saying I wish it was a 2-hour show because that's the only difference. You would take matches like this out. It would be the same show, but you would take matches like this off the show. That's the only difference. Over the years, Hunter has made it no secret that booking a 3-hour program as opposed to 2 hours is much harder. However, with him now being in charge of creative decisions, fans may see Raw return to a shorter runtime. How do you think Veer Mahan has fared on WWE's main roster so far? Let us know in the comments section below. Goldberg beating Bray Wyatt, the biggest flop in WWE history. WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg's win over Bray Wyatt to become the Universal Champion was one of the company's most controversial decisions. EC3 has now looked back on it and talked about it as the moment he lost hope and decided something needed to change. At WWE Super Showdown 2020, Goldberg defeated the Fiend after hitting him with 4 spears and then connecting with the jackhammer. This would be the first time that Wyatt's Fiend character suffered a loss in WWE, and it was not well received by fans. Goldberg himself had a 2-word explanation days after the win: "I'm Goldberg." During the most recent episode of Wrestling Outlaws, EC3 discussed why Goldberg defeating Bray Wyatt was one of the most crushing moments in wrestling. He felt that the creativity that Wyatt brought and the success that it had seen deserved better treatment from WWE. He added that it was the moment he decided that things needed to change. And then comes Saudi Super Showdown, and the Fiend had a match with Goldberg, who runs through him real fast. Wrestling is make-believe, wins and losses don't matter, but in that moment creativity really dies for me. Because if that doesn't get time to play out, a conclusion, or give it time to work, if they are going to pull the rug on that so quickly when it worked so well and it was so interesting, and it was so hard to do, I was like, nothing matters. Nothing will ever matter if the business stays the same, something has to change somehow. The former WWE star also praised Bray Wyatt for the creativity that he brought with the Fiend character. He praised his mindset and how he was inspiring others by creating such a character and then becoming the Universal Champion. He did, however, admit that he hated the red lights. He came out and totally went nuts creatively. You could tell what he was behind and what he was working on and how much of himself he put into it. It was inspiring, and I can't believe he got that far. He became the champion. Everyone hated the red lights, and so did I, but the fact that talent was finally rewarded for the ingenuity they brought. While there have been a lot of rumors surrounding Bray Wyatt's return to WWE, nothing has been confirmed yet. It remains to be seen whether the former world champion will show up to the promotion anytime soon. What did you think when Bray Wyatt lost the Universal Championship to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Current WWE superstar to replace Brock Lesnar. WWE wanted Gable Steveson to be the new Brock Lesnar, as per Dave Meltzer's recent comment. There hasn't been any mention of Gable Steveson on WWE TV for a while now. The 22-year-old star signed a deal with WWE last year but has yet to compete in his first match for the promotion. Prominent pro wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer recently made an appearance on the Sunday night's main event TSN radio show. Meltzer opened up in detail about Steveson's WWE status and revealed that the company wanted him to be the next Brock Lesnar. It was that he was going to be the new Brock Lesnar, and they were going to send coaches to Minnesota to get a place in Minneapolis, and during the wrestling season, they were going to have him also train as a pro wrestler, which probably wasn't a good idea to do both at the same time. Meltzer also stated that WWE canceled plans for Steveson to make his debut at WrestleMania 38 earlier this year. He added that Steveson was supposed to have become a big deal on the WWE roster by now. He hasn't debuted, and they wanted to debut him at WrestleMania, and it didn't happen. He was supposed to be fast-tracked to main events by now, like come right out of college and win the NCAS, which he did, and then go right to WWE top level, and that didn't happen. It's known for a while now that Brock Lesnar leads quite a private life. He doesn't maintain a social media handle and usually stays away from the limelight that comes with his job. WWE fans were quite surprised to see Lesnar train Steveson in a video posted by the Minnesota Gophers about 2 years ago. There's no concrete news yet on what WWE has in store for Gable Steveson. At 22, he still has a long road ahead of him and could certainly become a big name in WWE in the distant future. What do you think? Do you believe Gable Steveson has it in him to become the next Lesnar? Bray Wyatt turns down working with fired WWE star, leaked. Former WWE star EC3 recently spoke about working with Bray Wyatt and his rumored appearance on Control Your Narrative. Wyatt was a prominent feature on WWE TV before his shocking release in July 2021. The Wyatt family leader is a 3-time world champion and has also won the tag team championships on 2 occasions during his stint with the company. In a tell-all edition of the Wrestling Outlaws, EC3 mentioned that he and Adam Scherr, also known as Braun Strowman, worked to lay the blueprint for Bray Wyatt's appearance. He acknowledged that the plans were never concrete and hoped that the former WWE champion would find his way back to the company. So as far as Control Your Narrative, yeah, I think Adam and I definitely laid some teasers for him, and there was some talk. There was nothing ever seriously on the table or anything. But he's awesome, so hope he gets back too. Bray Wyatt has been grabbing headlines ever since Triple H took over the reins of the creative team in WWE. In a recent interview with Ariel Helwani of BT Sport, Triple H put Wyatt over as one of the greatest creative guys in the business. One of the most, I mean this in the best way possible, crazy, creative people I've ever been around. Mine just never stops thinking of creative. But it's like being in a whirlwind of stuff, so without the harness and without somebody to point the tornado, it's just all over the place. He's a victim of his own mind and his creative, and it's just everywhere. At this point, there is no definitive word on when and where the 36-year-old will show up. However, with several previously released stars making a comeback, fans have been speculating if The Fiend will also get the same treatment. Would you like to see The Fiend back in WWE? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Wrestling legend says Bray Wyatt should demand creative control in WWE. Former WWE head writer Vince Russo recently stated that if Bray Wyatt returns to the global juggernaut, it should be under his own terms. Since Triple H assumed power in WWE, many performers who were released under Vince McMahon's leadership have returned to the company. Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross, Dakota Kai, and Dexter Lumis, among many others, have been welcomed back with open arms by the viewers. Of late, rumors of Bray Wyatt returning have also been making waves on the internet. He was let go by WWE back in July 2021 owing to budget cuts despite being one of the promotion's biggest and most popular stars. A recent report suggested that his return is only a matter of time now. Speaking on the latest episode of Sportskeeda's The Wrestling Outlaws podcast, Vince Russo shared his thoughts on the same. The former WWE writer explained that Wyatt should return to the company under one condition: creative control. Moreover, Russo added that the former Universal Champion is smart enough to ensure that his character is protected this time if he decides to take his talents back to the promotion. I think Bray is definitely 1,000,000%. We never talked. We actually met a couple of times, which was really cool for me. I now hope he's going back on his terms. I hope he got it in writing. If we're gonna do this, I'm doing this whether it's creative control, whatever it is, I'm sure he's smart enough to ensure that BS is not gonna happen, said Vince Russo. In a recent interview, Judgment Day's Damian Priest opened up about possibly working with Bray Wyatt sometime down the line. The former United States champion stated that there's plenty to learn from a talent of Wyatt's caliber. Absolutely, of course, the guy's extremely smart with how to present himself, and you can always learn from someone like that. And getting to work with him, I think he's a fantastic performer. That would be cool to be able to do something with him. For sure, if there was ever a day that was a possibility, that would be cool, he said. Since both Bray Wyatt and Judgment Day have an eerie aura surrounding them, an interaction between the two sides could be memorable if it materializes. Do you see Bray Wyatt returning to WWE anytime soon? Sound off in the comments section below. Current plans for Cody Rhodes' WWE return. Former Intercontinental Champion Cody Rhodes has been away from WWE television recovering from his torn pectoral muscle injury. We now have a new report that he could make his WWE return at Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes and Rollins had a trilogy of premium live event matches, with the last one taking place at WWE Hell in a Cell 2022. Rhodes competed with a torn pec and won over the hearts of fans and critics. According to a new report by Zero News, sources have told them that the current plan for Cody Rhodes' return is to come back at next year's Royal Rumble. The American Nightmare is one of the top fan favorite choices to win next year's Royal Rumble match. During a recent Comic-Con event in San Diego, California, Rhodes commented on possibly returning to next year's Rumble, reminding fans about his impressive Rumble stats. "My Royal Rumble stats are top 10, they're phenomenal," Rhodes replied. "So if I was to come back at that event, there is a chance I could actually get up in the top 5, and I'm all about that. You never know. We'll see." WWE recently announced that next year's Royal Rumble will take place on January 28, 2023, at the Alamodome in San Antonio. Being one of the most popular shows of the year, fans are already excited for it, especially with Triple H now being in charge of the creative. Could Cody win next year's Royal Rumble and go after the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns in what has been a dream match for a while?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back